Good morning on a spring morning, isn't it nice? Let's sing together hymn number 347 out of the gray hymn book, Gather the Spirit. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. And if you're joining us online, you can find the lyrics posted in the chat. Here in the sanctuary, the lyrics are also posted on the screen. If you want to shed that clumsy hymn book, you can look up and smile at each other. And there's an idea.
Good morning. Welcome to Olympia UU congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. My name is James Trujillo and I use he, him pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our guest minister, Reverend Vincent Lachina, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Sarah Lewis, the director of community and faith development. Reverend Vincent Lachina, who uses he, him pronouns, has been an ordained minister for over 58 years and is currently aligned with the American Baptist Conference. He served as the regional chaplain for Planned Parenthood in the Northwest for almost 17 years before retiring in 2021. Reverend Lachina served congregations and religious organizations in Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Kansas for more than 2 decades prior to moving to the Northwest. He has also served as missionary in Nairobi, Kenya, in East Africa. Reverend Lachina holds a BA in Religion and English from Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama, and the MRE in Religion and Education from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. He currently resides in Linwood, Washington, and serves as pastor of the Community Church of Issaquah. Welcome to Olympia, Reverend Vincent. Here's a few things you should know about our service today. We are streaming live on Zoom and on YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see subtitles on the screen in front. And we are a multi-generational community, and we value our young ones. Kids, babies, and teens are welcome in the sanctuary. We have fluffy chairs in front, and you can be almost as comfortable as those online. There is also nursery care and a storytime program for children in the classroom wing. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to the ushers and greeters, the kitchen crew, and all who contribute in so very many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Lachina. For those online, we invite you to go to the breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those here in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. At 11:30, after the coffee chat, please return to the main room or sanctuary for a forum on anti-racism with Reverend Sarah Lewis. And a special announcement today, the online auction is now open. Please come together and start your bidding for a wide variety of items. Anything from dog training, pickles, pies, dinners, music, and more. The online auction closes next Sunday, May 7th at 5 p.m., so don't wait. The live auction and community event are happening right here at OUUC next weekend, on Saturday, May 6th from 5 to 8 p.m. Don't miss this fun opportunity to support OUUC. This and many other things are happening here at Olympia UU. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, let us open ourselves to the wonder of life as we are inspired to build bridges toward a more just, loving, and healthy future, starting today.
Today we share the sad news that longtime OUUC member Mary Jem MD died on April 26th at the age of 94 years old. She spent her last days surrounded by family and friends. Mary Jem was an artist in all senses, bringing beauty into the world. She painted modern art and showed her pieces all over the United States. She loved to sing and performed for many years with Wrinkles of Washington and other local groups. Mary Jem joined OUUC in November of 1969, and she generously served this community in many ways, including as a celebrant for worship, and she was a steadfast member of the OUUC choir for many years. Mary Jem was fearless when it came to taking on new adventures, even if those adventures took her halfway across the country. She was not only an artist, but she was a supporter of the arts, encouraging and promoting the work of other local artists. One of Mary Jem's adventures included attending Barnum and Bailey Clown School and developing the persona of Marigold. While she was still physically able, she clowned around for local parades and events. Mary Jem loved the roar of the crowd. She was a natural-born performer. Mary Jem's family plans a service to celebrate her life, and we will let you know of those plans as they unfold. Now, let's light a candle in memory of Mary Jem. Mary Jem, may your spirit be at peace.
This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations all around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join us as we light our chalices together with the words of Gary Kowalski. With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as the gift that it is, a reason for rejoicing.
I'd like to share some words with you this morning as a welcome and good morning to you. These are offered, the words of Senator Cory Booker, who is a United States Senator from the state of New Jersey, and he wrote this some time ago. Our light is indistinguishable, no matter how much darkness we face. We must be brilliant now, as it is needed most, not a dim, dull capitulation of the gloom that abounds. We are prisoners of hope, knowing hope and faith do not exist in the abstract. They are the active conviction that frustration and despair will never have the last words. Let us be determined to reach out to our fellow countrywomen and men. Let us encourage others. Let us be gracious. Let us seek to build bridges where they have been burned. Let us seek to restore trust where it has been eroded. Let us stand our ground, but still work to find common ground. Let us be humble and do the difficult work of finding ways to collaborate and cooperate with those who differ from us. But let us never, ever surrender, forfeit, or retreat from our core values, our fundamental commitments to justice over prejudice, economic inclusion over poverty and unmerited privilege, and always, always love over hate. Let us speak truth to power, fiercely defend those who are bullied, belittled, demeaned, or degraded, and tenaciously fight for all people and the ideals we cherish. Come and let us worship together this morning.
May your life be as a song resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. The lyrics are being projected. Let's sing it through a couple times and then we'll try singing around. Try and get your bossa nova on here. May your life be as a song resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. One more time. May your life be as a song resounding to the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Okay, we'll start here. Sing it 3 times through, shall we? And then I'll bring this group in over here. 1 and a 2, and here we go. May your life be as a song resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever serenade the stars in the night. Serenade your life be as a song resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and good for you.
Good morning. All right, to follow that up, our story today has some help from my monkey friends here and from my good friend Carl, who will be playing guitar. So thank you so much, Carl. All right, Molly's brother Sammy, this is Sammy, liked to play guitar and sing. The music made him happy. It was Sammy's favorite thing. He wrote a lot of songs and played them for his family too. There was not anything that Sammy wanted more to do. But one day, Sammy climbed a tree and got a bit too high. A branch that he was hanging from broke off into the sky. So Sammy fell down helplessly and landed on a stone. He tried to move his arm, but he could tell he broke a bone. The doctor at the hospital told him the break was bad. His arm would never work again. It made him very sad. He thought about the music and the songs he loved to play. Somehow the world had changed and nothing seemed to go his way. His sister Molly felt sad too. She knew how down he was. She wished that she could help him. That is what a sister does. She told him to be positive and she would help him out, because caring for each other is what family's all about. So Sammy smiled a bit because his sister seemed to care. She gave him her support and he was glad that she was there. When Sammy got his cast off, he could not wait anymore. He picked up his guitar and quickly headed out the door. He sat beneath a tree and tried to play a little song, but Sammy's arm did not work right and it all sounded wrong. He became so frustrated, he threw his guitar away. He thought, why should I keep it if I cannot even play? Then Molly looked outside and saw what he was going through. She had a great idea. She knew exactly what to do. She ran outside to Sammy and said, "You threw that away? Well, I guess it is mine now, so I better learn how to play." She took Sammy's guitar out of the dirty old trash can and said, "Can you teach me to play?" And Sammy said, "I can." So Sammy showed Molly all that he knew about guitar, and before long she learned to play just like a superstar. Sammy was very happy. She could play and he could sing, and now he had a buddy who could share his favorite thing. He wrote a lot of new songs for their little family band, and Molly saved the music since she cared to understand. She helped Sammy to smile again, and that made her feel glad. She felt compassion for him through the hardest time he had. Compassion is a miracle when things seem to go wrong. Sometimes its pleasant melody restores life's pleasant song. Thus ends our story. Thank you so much.
Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here goes to two things. It supports the ongoing work of Olympia UU, which is also supported by your regular pledges. And this offering supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate organization for March and April is Hands-on Personal Empowerment, or HOPE. This is their message about their work.
Good morning, OUUC. Thanks for having me. My name is Rachel, and I'm the Executive Director for the Hope Garden Project, located in Shelton, Washington. Hope engages Mason County youth to become empowered, productive members of their community in a world they will inherit through garden-based education. Currently, we run 4 different programs. During the school year, we offer programming at the middle school level, where youth learn about health, sustainability, and steward the garden located at Evergreen Elementary. We also work with the Life Skills High School program, where older youth living with neurodivergence get to learn how to build, grow, and maintain the garden located outside of their classroom. They also learn how to make healthy recipes that they can do at home. Through an agricultural model, the Older Youth Employment Program is designed to offer young adults the opportunity to have their first job experience in a safe and supportive environment, while at the same time exposing them to nutrition, health, and cooking. By creating opportunities for youth to gain skills in communication, leadership, and team building, they learn how to be the kind of humans they want to be. We offer this program during the school year and during the summer. Our school year program is 2 afternoons a week, and our high school program during the summer is 8 weeks long, for 5 hours a day, 3 days a week. This is our most intensive program and the one that is the most rewarding and exciting. But all of our programs are really wonderful, and we wouldn't be able to do it without support, like the kind of support that we are getting from you all. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You can participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that will appear on your screen. You can also mail a check to Olympia UU or place your offering in one of the baskets being passed by the ushers. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you for your generous gifts. We came together this morning bringing all that is in our lives. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drum beat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of community. So right now, I invite you to take a breath as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and our communities today. Reverend Mary shares that she is in Michigan this weekend attending the memorial service for her Uncle Don. He was the last living sibling of her dad. We send our love and care to Reverend Mary and her family as they mourn this loss. For those online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. This is the time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows and whatever else is shared from your heart. Those in the sanctuary can see your sharing on the screen. And for those in person today, I invite you to come forward if there is something that you would like to bring into this community. You may place a stone into the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Please come up through the side aisle and return by the center aisle. Let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken.
I would encourage you just to be in whatever way is comfortable for you for prayer or meditation. Many people just sit in silence, just do what's comfortable for you. You're welcome to do whatever. We cannot say that every time we pray for people, they are going to be healed. But we can say that every time we pray for them, they will be helped. They'll be strengthened. They'll be comforted. They'll be encouraged. Even knowing that we are praying for them gives them a sense of support. We must never minimize the positive power we generate through prayerful thoughts. For each time you offer prayerful thoughts, you release a form of direct help that can come in no other way. Let us together hold a moment of silence and remembering.
remain seated and sing together hymn number 134, Our World is One World.
Today's reading is There Is No Easier Way by Elizabeth Wynne. I once saw a little sign carved in wood that read, "There is only the hard way." Many of us have been harmed by theology that told us that suffering was a sacrifice that would bring us closer to God. Many of us were told that our suffering would redeem us, even when we knew that actual redemption would have been to be free from the suffering to begin with. Many of us are only here because of the sacrifices of others. So much of what is possible to carve out in this world requires some giving up, some letting go, some sacrifice. That is the truth of that little wooden sign. There is no easy way. There is only the hard way. In particular, the work of justice. The work of justice often asks us to do the impossible, hard, terrifying things. There is no easier way. There is only this one hard way. Folks with more privilege sometimes get caught up here. If it's hard, maybe we're doing it wrong, we tell ourselves. We are lulled by our experiences of choosing between a hard choice and an easier one. Folks with less privilege know that many of our choices are between a horrific choice and another horrific choice. We learn to live with that and keep going. Many of us want to do the right thing, the just thing, the generous thing, and also not to have to give up anything at all that we want. We want to share our opinions, but not actually donate all of our evenings, our weekends, our doing the dishes while on the conference call to get to understand the work enough to be able to offer meaningful thoughts. We want people to trust us and let us shape the vision, but not actually risk inviting folks out to tea, dinner, beers, or church to build a relationship that endures and carries us forward. We may want to post the cute meme without actually making the phone call to the city councilor or state representative. We want to be part of that powerful, courageous, game-changing direct action without the long past midnight planning meetings, the messy decision-making, and the frayed relationships, the constant wondering if this is even worth it. We want to talk about being bound together in interdependence, but do not actually want to give up our guest room to the stranger, give a paycheck to someone we've never met, or turn our schedule inside out to do what needs to be done. The word sacrifice might be too much mess for some of us, too tainted with oppression and coercion. What matters more is that we are willing to live our lives in the shape of what is being asked. Not hope that what we are asked to do will fit the shape of our lives.
Goodness. As James told you, I'm pastor of the community church of Issaquah. And when I say we have an older congregation, looking at you makes me think I'm speaking to a youth retreat. Our church was... It's true. Don't tell them I said that. Our church was founded in 1890, and no, I wasn't there when it opened. But we do have a lot of older members. Last week we had a birthday party for one of our members who celebrated 102 years. I should also tell you he has an 81-year-old girlfriend. I don't ever go there. But I've appreciated Reverend Mary asking me to speak. You're probably wondering, what's an American Baptist minister doing speaking in a Unitarian church? I ask myself that from time to time. First time I ever spoke in a Unitarian church was in Mount Vernon many years ago. When they read my biography, I got a phone call a few days later. And this voice said, "We're so thrilled you're coming to speak, but could we ask a favor?" I said, "Certainly." And this quiet voice said, "Don't talk about God." So, my message today is not about God, although you'll hear it mentioned once, but not like that. But there are a lot of days when I just sit in amazement about how life changes so fast for us. Like that. So recently I went to my local coffee shop where I go almost every day to get myself my latte. It's a tall, skinny vanilla latte with no foam, just in case you want to ever buy me one. Well, that's been my drink of choice for the 38 years I've lived in Seattle, but ironically, I had never had a sip of coffee until I moved to Seattle and got indoctrinated. Now I'm an addict. But back to the story. So as I stepped to the counter to pay, I saw this sign that said, "We no longer accept cash." I said, "What? You mean I'm going to have to pay with a debit card? Remember my PIN code? All by myself." So I asked the barista if that was really true, and her reply was, "Yes, but You can pay with your watch and Apple Pay. I said, I have a Timex. So I thought, good Lord, if you can't pay for cash, I can't even remember the last time anybody wrote a check. But it's different these days. And trying to keep up with the changes is almost a full-time job for people like me. So if I have time next week, I'm going to do some reading about this new thing called AI. But I think it's probably well over my head and well past my understanding. So artificial intelligence, I would settle for just some intelligence, whether it's artificial or not. But the thing that popped up into my head about this movement away from currency was about the phrase that's printed on every one of those bills. Seems that back in 1955, there were two men who wanted to build on what was happening in the United States. We had come to the end of World War II, and there was this resurgence of religion, and they wanted to connect it to the government. Do you know who they were? Dwight David Eisenhower and some preacher. His name was Billy Graham. So in 1955, a law was signed into place, and the words, "In God We Trust," is required to appear on every one of the bills of our currency. And the first one was in 1957. Those words appear on every bill. You can look for them if you don't believe me. But if God's the source of trust for paper money, I ask myself, who's the source of trust on a credit card or an Apple Watch? I just can't picture someone saying, "In Steve Jobs we trust." It just doesn't sound right, does it? Challenges the whole meaning of the word trust. And I'm aware that your congregation has been talking about trust during the month of April. Reverend Mary was very specific about what I could talk about and exactly how long I could speak. 12 minutes max, she said. So, if my message this morning seems sort of like a rerun on something that you've previously heard, please don't tell Reverend Mary. And I do apologize. And if you've heard all of this before, I give you permission to doze off during service, particularly if you're home on your sofa. But if the word trust is the unconditional belief in someone or something, the reality is that it spans the entire universe of your life and mine. Every corner of your life. Let me begin with the bigger areas of trust and move downward to the smaller ones, or the individual area of trust. Now, perhaps the broadest focus of trust might be the commercial or industrial areas of our lives. So I trust, and I'm sure they trust here, that when you flip the switch on the wall, that the lights are going to come on and the room is going to awaken. You trust it. I trust that when I turn the oven of my stove on to do baking, which is therapy for me, and set it for 350 degrees, I trust that it's actually going to be 350 degrees, not less and not more, so that if I'm baking bread, it doesn't end up as a doorstop, which Martha Stewart has made me do many times. I trust that when I turn the key in my car, that the engine's going to come on and start, and I'll be ready to go to Fred Meyer and buy whatever I needed to buy. I trust that. I trust that when I purchase a product at a grocery store that has a use-by date, that somewhere in the future, that I have the assurance that the product is going to be edible, not eligible, edible, and usable, and it's not molded or it hasn't expired. I trust that. I trust that when I pay the grease monkey attendant for an upscale oil change in my 2006 car, that they're really going to put the top quality oil and not Costco brand. I trust that when I pull into the gas station to fill up my tank and the price says $4.59 and 9/10, ignore that, per gallon, that the numbers that go by so fast are really showing me that every gallon is $4.59. I also trust that the price is going to come down one day, but I don't think that's trust. I think that's wishful thinking. But you see, these are just some small examples that we place trust in so many large and small areas of every part of our daily lives. It's when something goes over the rails that this trust is shattered. Remember the time you bought an airline ticket for your more anticipated vacation? Then we got to the airport, you found that your flight was delayed and your connecting flight was not going to work. And who knows when you're going to be able to get another plane to go to your destination? Well, did you lose trust in the airline or the agent? Or the time that an Amazon shop that you ordered a product? Please tell me you don't shop on Amazon. Oh, you shouldn't raise your hand. They saw that on the camera. But you ordered a product and it was delivered and it's not even close to what you thought you were getting. And when you tried to return it, the UPS man said, "Oh, that was lost." It's doubtful that would dissuade you from shopping on Amazon, but it narrows your trust either on what you're buying or who you're buying it from. There's another area of trust that we could call institutional. Focuses on education, medical, spiritual, and more. We'll give you some examples about this thinking process. We send our kids to school, or we went to school at some level, maybe high school, college, grad school, trusting that we would get an adequate education to prepare us or our kids for our chosen profession or for a better life in general. Now, I trusted that when I went to college and seminary, I'd be prepared for a lifetime of ministry, which now covers, well, it will be 60 years in September. But I was ordained at 18, Southern Baptist. You know, they're not well. Ordain anybody. Any of you interested, by the way? No? Okay. But along came this Zoom thing, and it threw me overboard. I wasn't educated about that, and I still struggle with it. Accompanying all of this are the challenges of our new world that includes an enormous shortage of teachers, book banning, online education, funding shortages for all levels of education. Is our trust in the educational world on the line here? Big time. We trust our medical providers to advise us professionally about whatever our physical or mental needs are, to give us the correct medication we need for our ailment, to read an x-ray, and in Sammy Monkeys, to know where to put the cast or the splint for your broken arm, to offer expert guidance for dealing with depression, or worse, some medical condition with a very bad, dire prognosis. Then this pandemic thing reared its ugly head, and our medical world has been forever changed. Do you trust the vaccination? Hospitals are full, insurance coverage is so poor at times, shortage of medical providers, and there's so much more. These challenges cause us to trust on so many different levels and lose it on others. We trust those in the religious world to guide us in our faith journey. and to teach us what we need to know to be better human beings. Our ministers and church leadership are an important part of our world, and we place an extraordinary amount of trust in them, believing they always have our best interests at heart. In the midst of our other struggles, we now have churches closing at the rate of 700 a month. Seminaries that are merging and closing. Church attendance that's dropping. Pulpits that are empty due to the lack of ministers. That's the reason why I'm doing this, by the way. I did retire, but they were desperate. Does any of this cause you to lose trust in the church or its leaders? That's a good question. But without a doubt, the biggest and most important place where we anchor our trust is in an individual, a person, the people in our lives. This happens in small ways and in large ways. So, say you've been friends with someone for a very long time and you've had so many good, memorable moments. Then time or distance seem to widen the space between you, and the silence between you just grows. And that's the end result. The question in your mind keeps repeating, what happened? Did I do something wrong? And eventually, your unconditional belief or trust just fades away with the friendship. You assume that your boss is on your side, and when you are falsely accused of something you did not do in the workplace, your boss nor anyone else stands up for you. Your years of working together seem to mean little, and your trust in that individual is lost. The days ahead in the workplace now become awkward and uncomfortable because trust is lost. So say, like me, you have a sibling who comes from a very fundamentalist position of faith, almost the exact opposite of mine. In a conversation with another family member, you learn that this sibling is convinced that you're on the fast track to the devil's den. That's the Unitarian way of using that four-letter word. We say it in the Baptist church, but I'm being nice. But my sister's comment was something to this effect: I'm sorry I'm related to him. It becomes very difficult to trust that family relation, and that the relations are solid and positive with that attitude in place, and trust is lost. And each time I hear someone say, "Trust me," causes me to ponder the question, why do you think they need to say that? Do you and I find it necessary to preface something we say or do with the words, "Trust me"? If you do, if I do, the foundation of our relationship with that individual is on some shaky ground. Just as our trust in the well-meaning of people and organizations relies on the simple concept of telling the truth, lost trust is the reverse of that when we encounter a lie, a broken promise, a faulty circumstance. Have you ever lost trust in someone or something? How did it happen? Even more difficult to answer, were you able to restore your faith or trust in that person? Or was it irreparable? If trust is indeed unconditional belief in someone or something, the reality is that just as trust has a beginning, it can also have an ending. It can be found and it can be lost. My hope for each of us is that losing trust in someone will be a rare event. I want to believe that I can trust in spite of the possibility that it might not be unconditional. If I fall into the hole of not trusting anything, I know from experience it leaves a very dark stain on my attitude in life. So who or what can I unconditionally trust? Who can you trust? Try this, church, and your leaders here. As a minister, let me be preachy for just a minute here. We won't take up a special offering, I promise. But as someone who's been a part of a church all my life, I encourage you to offer your trust that this church and this minister, and I will tell you, I am a huge fan of Reverend Mary, that they are constantly seeking the very best for you. You can trust that. And of that I have no doubt. If you want something to write on your Apple Watch or iPad, try this. In OUUC we trust. Or in Mary Gear we trust. She'll give you $5 to put them on your watch. So let me say in closing, you people are enormously blessed to be here and to have this leadership team on your side. Trust them. How's that for an endorsement from a Baptist minister? Well, may it be so.
Let's join together in singing. Hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. If you don't want to use the hymn book, the lyrics will be projected. If you look at the screen, I invite you to look over here once in a while. I'll smile back at you.
With you. This is from my dear friend Darcy Rourke, who was the senior pastor at the First Unitarian Church in New Orleans for a long time and is now at the UUA. She wrote, "There is too much hardship in this world to not find joy every day. There's too much injustice in this world to not try to right the wrong every day. There's too much pain in this world to not seek healing every day. Each of us ministers to a weary world. Let us go forth now and do that which calls us to make the world more loving, more compassionate, and more filled with grace every day." If you're online and have a chalice or a candle, please join us as we extinguish our chalice with these words from Maggie Lovins. "We extinguish this flame, but not its meaning and mission in our hearts. Our time together has come to an end. Go in peace, be of service to one another, and may you move through the world in love for all of your days. And may we move in peace."
Let's join together in singing our unison benediction.